Chapter 13, Land of Opportunity. I thought we would hole up when daylight came, but I was wrong. We walked on and on. As long as we kept to the highest and most rugged places, Miguel thought we wouldn't be seen. The day warmed and stayed comfortable. At a trickling spring, we found water. The second night got so cold. Only the work of the hiking kept us from freezing. The moon was throwing plenty of light. We had left the scaly Guadalupe Mountains behind and were into the Pelon Silos, strewn with giant boulders. Miguel would often pull out his map and show me where we were. "Look how far we've come," he said in the middle of the night. "We've crossed from New Mexico to Arizona and back into New Mexico." My answer was a yawn. I was asleep on my feet. 10 minutes later, I fell into a clump of cactus and started some rocks rolling. A herd of animals we didn't even know were there went bounding away in the moonlight. Bighorn sheep. Miguel said they were. The night grew quiet again, but the desert mountains were far from empty. It was never long before something made the hair stand up on the back of my neck. Coyotes, owls, who knows what. Daylight brought the honking of thousands of northbound geese, who made it look like we were moving at the speed of ants. Miguel had his map out and was looking for a way down to the narrow San Bernardino Valley, in sight to the west, but not yet in reach. We had to cross the valley before we could climb into the high Chiricahua Mountains on the other side. "What about this deep canyon right below us?" I asked. "Bet we could find a way to drop into it, and it leads to the valley." "Skeleton Canyon, it's called. Look here. It has a road up it. We might run into Border Patrol. Let's keep looking. How did you hurt your head anyway?" "Train," I said. "The doctor said that the stitches will fall out when they're ready." "Stay away from trains," Miguel grunted. We kept going north. Above Skull Canyon, Miguel spread out the map on a slab of granite. It was broad daylight, but Miguel was pretty sure we were out of reach of the Border Patrol. My guide showed me how to get a rough idea of north by the position of the sun and the time of day. I already knew, but I didn't tell him so. "Always lay the map out," he said, "so it's pointing north." He started talking about the patches of color on the map, the different ownership of land the colors stood for. My eyes drifted to a nearby rock where a spiny lizard with bright orange markings was doing push-ups. Somehow its attitude reminded me of Rico. I had to smile. "Well?" says Miguel irritably. "I was just wondering why they do that." "To attract the girls, of course. I used to do it when I was your age." My laugh was cut short as Miguel slapped the map with the side of his hand. "Why do you think I'm showing you all this?" I was taken aback. "It's a good thing to know, I guess." "What is your plan? Let someone else lead the way and hope for the best?" "Well, the best seldom happens. Everything I tell you is in case we get separated." "That's not going to happen, Miguel." "What do you know? It could happen in 100 ways. Then where would you be?" As we came down the slopes of the Pelon Silos, we found warmer temperatures in springtime. The hillsides were washed blue and red with wildflowers. The rocks were sprinkled with golden poppies. Hummingbirds shot back and forth like arrows. Miguel was warmer too, more cheerful. He seemed to actually be enjoying my company. We laughed at the clumsy bees smacking into our hats. In Skull Canyon, we drank from the creek like camels, filled our water jugs, and bathed. My bandage fell off. I washed my hair with a bar of soap and also washed some underwear. Miguel took a switchblade out of his pack, opened it, folded it shut, opened it, folded it shut. "Have you ever had to use it?" I asked. "Many times," he replied. Miguel opened the knife once more. With a laugh, he began to trim his fingernails. "I didn't know my guide had a sense of humor," I said. "Life has many surprises, my friend." It was enjoyable to rest and to eat under a tall cottonwood, newly leafed out in spring green. We were going to wait for the sun to dry our laundry spread out on the rocks. Miguel was feeling so good, he sang a ballad about my gunfighter, who raided across the border with Pancho Villa. Your father, Miguel said after the song. I have a feeling he is dead. I gave a painful nod. Crossing the desert. At work in El Norte? At work in South Carolina. Doing something dangerous, I suppose. You never refuse. How long ago? 4 years. Before the famous September 11, then. Before the Americans got so afraid of terrorists and hired so many more border patrol. Probably your father is able to come home every year for the holidays. From Christmas until the middle of March. A couple months of year was all you had of him. Same for my kids. I have 2 girls and 2 boys. You're brave to come home. No, just stupid. Hardly anybody from my village risks it anymore. I would do anything to bring my wife and my little ones across if only I could. How I would love for my kids to have the advantages of the States. Kids can even go to school without having to prove they are legal. The Americans are generous that way. My friend who left before me calls El Norte the land of opportunity. It is, if you're willing to work hard. In the States, it's possible to start from the ground and reach the top of the tree. In Mexico, if you are born poor, there are no branches within reach, and the trunk is coated with lard. My friend, his name is Rico, was born poor, yet his father built him a ladder. Until a couple of weeks ago, he was in school in Silao. He could have learned a trade and got a good job, yet he ran away to the States. Who's to blame him? In El Norte, there's a lot more fruit on the trees, which reminds me of something I should warn you about. When you make money up there, it's very easy to spend it, to waste it on things that are senseless. I'll send it home. All that I can. Good. To my surprise, Miguel said we were in no hurry to move on. After all the hard walking, we finally got some sleep. Miguel nudged me awake in the middle of the afternoon, and we climbed to a lookout. The San Bernardino Valley lay below, nearly in our laps. Across the valley, the towering Chiricahua Mountains looked close enough to touch. I could even see the shapes of the tall trees blanketing their upper slopes. Miguel spread out the map. We were back in Arizona, this time to stay. For the first time, he told me where we were going and how we were going to get there. His route ran the length of the Chiricahua Mountains and then the Dos Cabezas, only when we were within a mile of what he called the interstate highway, at a town called Wilcox, where we were going to come down out of the mountains. It was unbelievable what Miguel had in mind. By the time we got there, we would have walked all the way from Mexico to the big highway running across southern Arizona. How many miles? I asked. Don't even think about the distance. It can be done. That's all that counts. Our destination was a blank spot on the map along a gravel road north of Wilcox. The illegals call it the Skinny Dog. La Perra Flaca was a place where mojados lived 10 or 15 to a trailer and were met every morning by labor contractors who took them to work in the onions and the chiles. Once you get north of the interstate, Miguel explained, the Border Patrol doesn't bother you anymore unless you get into trouble or in an accident. I can work there too, with you. Why do you think I'm telling you all this? I can't tell you how happy this makes me feel. Well, you never know how long the work will last. We'll work there until you can send a money order home. Then we'll move on to other states. Why not stay there? The work dries up. Anyway, we can do better. In case we get separated, I'll look for you at La Perra Flaca. Your nose will tell you where you're going. The sewage overflows. Miguel passed the binoculars and had me scan the paved road that ran the length of the San Bernardino Valley. We were going to cross it a mile north of Apache, where the valley narrowed to 8 miles. We had to cross the flats before we could find cover in the Chiricahua Mountains. I can see a gas station, I said, and a few trailers. Where's Apache? That's it. I see 2 Pereiras. The dog catchers flock to those convenience stores for the coffee that is like battery acid. A white Jeep with green markings is driving in. More Border Patrol. Maybe all the patrolmen will be there tonight. Somehow I doubt it. Look, it's starting to get cloudy. The moon won't give us away. They have night vision goggles. I see 3 more Pieras. 2 on the side of the highway and 1 on the dirt road dragging something behind. Tires hooked together. Every day they erase the old footprints so they can see the new ones. Miguel took the binoculars back and looked some more. He said that the desert was rigged with motion sensors and hidden cameras. Ordinary cameras for the daytime, heat cameras for the night. Even in pitch dark, the Border Patrol can see you moving through the desert by the heat of your body. In Apache or nearby, a man was watching dozens of TV screens. Higher overhead than we could see, an airplane that could fly without a pilot might be watching us right now. They sure go to a lot of trouble, I said. It's a crazy world, no? You got that right. They say that 1 out of every 10 citizens of Mexico is living in the States. Think if they ever rounded us all up, who would do all the work? Are they willing to pick the fruits and the vegetables to fill their grocery stores? How much would their food cost without us to harvest it? I tell you, they would miss us badly. As for our own country, think if we weren't able to send all this money back to our families. It's my family's only chance. Listen carefully now. When we cross the Chirichahuas tonight, we have to be very alert. If we're unlucky, we'll have to run fast as antelopes. But you can't do that. In my case, it was just an expression. I wish there weren't so many Border Patrol. I didn't expect this many this far north. It's a sign that wets are hiking greater distances than ever. It means we'll have to go higher in the mountains, higher in the mountains than I was thinking, up into the tall trees. It'll be cold up there. Better cold than hot, no? You know what? I predict we don't have trouble with the Border Patrol tonight. I'm happy to hear you say that. But talking about bulls is not the same as facing them in the ring. That was one of my father's sayings. Your father was a wise man. For comfort, I turned my face to the late sun, high above the vultures, where wheels in circles. Those vultures are Mexicans, Miguel said. Migratory workers, undocumentados. Yet no one throws them in the zoo for lack of documents. Well, I'm afraid it's time for us to get going. Even the best horse needs to be spurred. Did your father used to say that one? No, but how about this one? Once mounted on a horse, one must hang on when he bucks. Good advice. Keep it in mind, Victor.